Yes, Chairman. Councillors Morris, Sinton, Franks, Della and Grady.
Okay. Item 2, declarations of interest. Okay. Councillor Humphreys.
Yes, I need to declare a non-pecuniary interest in the first item on the planning list, 17 Humbersley Road, as I live directly opposite that, or behind it, the opposite of the churchyard, isn't it? But I live directly behind it, and I'm in fact one of the blind people that you've all talked about who lives there.
Thank you.
So, just on that point, so are you abstaining, Councillor
I will
Humphreys,
abstain from any votes,
as a member
yes.
of the committee? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Councillor Davidson.
I'm going to abstain because I've written in support of my association members, or our association members, and but I do recommend before any of you vote that you read all the objections and all the letters of support from the district councillors.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Davidson.
Councillor Della.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Duffy.
Non-pecuniary interest that I was at the time when it was discussed, whichever chair of one of the meetings it was discussing. So a lot of comments at times. I shouldn't have sway my comments and things on this meeting.
You wouldn't need to abstain. No.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Any further comments? No. Item 3, I'd like to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on 8th of June. Could we have a proposer for those, please? Councillor Davidson, seconder. Councillor Brooks, all in favour? Thank you. We're now on to item 4, the planning applications to be considered. And the first one on the list is 17 Humbersley Road, which we've just had delegation of the residents here. This is for the actual planning permission is a proposed change of use from dwelling to multiple occupation to include secure living accommodation with supported living. Proposed external alterations to provide additional parking and extension to drop curb.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. So, what I'll do, as I would with all planning applications, I'll summarise from the portal to all the responses, so residential and statutory. I'll start with the objections and then I'll go on to the statements of support before summing up. So, objections, so this was, as of today, there was 9 neighbours or constituents responses, including statements of support from Councillors Della, Davidson, Eric Bowden and District Member Gregory Wilkins. Sorry, it's a statement of objection. As to the main themes from all of the objections, a lot of those have been covered, but neighbours' concerns over similar HMO premises and history within the area, associated with the ASB, intimidation of residents and harassment, drugs and alcohol. A key point was concerns over the 24-hour warden cover or security of the premises for the proposal, proximity to the railway station, nearby pubs, problems with a drug culture perception in that area related to the existing guest house and the adjacent churchyard. Concerns regarding the planning application process, that whether it's valid, because there was an assurance for a secondary application for the HMO, whereas currently the opinion is it remains an open use, not specific for future. Design and access statement said to misrepresent that local residents were not fully engaged. There was an opinion that it was originally 7 bedrooms and is now 9. Over concentration of HMOs in the area. Concerns over car parking and space proposals, noise, vulnerability of HMO residents, particularly towards drug culture and perceived risk of county lines, and also local vulnerable people in the neighbourhood. So, in response to those points of concern, we have spoken to Wychavon last week. Their opinion is that the design statement is valid, and they did do an initial consultation, but they also did a drop-in on the 25th of June. And their explanation on that is that the full plans were consulted on as part of that. That was the community hall event the other Thursday. They have made considerations towards enhanced security cover. So office hours are 9 to 5 Monday to Friday on the site, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. security cover Monday to Friday, 24/7 across weekends, and that's in place for the first 6 months, and then it will be reviewed, is their commitment. And then enhanced lighting and CCTV for the site. So then we go on to the support statements. So again, generalising these to help address youth homelessness, provide a helping start for independent living for young people, connection to the town centre and station, so that was connected travel to further employment opportunities for the proposed residents, security for vulnerable persons, future prospects, life skills and competence, and benchmarking against the Evesham project, which was referenced in the representation. I'll move on to the statutories before their responses before we sum up. So the Wychavon drainage engineer, that was fine. It was just the usual SWDPR section 39 for sustainable drainage. The highways response is no objection. It is a comprehensive report. I'll just touch on the car parking as that came up. Their response is no objection overall. They have considered the car parking spaces, and the 4 off-road spaces does accord with the 9 bedrooms, but the rationale for that is they will be for staff parking, and the bike provision, bike sheds, that 10 cycles, is for residents. So the expectation is that the residents will not have private vehicles. They've looked at the following aspects really. So parking, location to the highways network, location from an access perspective, parking cycling facility provision, and trip generation. What they haven't commented on, which is normal, is any additional parking during construction phase, which would be a factor, albeit temporary. So, and then the third statutory response and final one is regulatory services, which was on noise nuisance. Now, their response is no comments to make on noise nuisance because those concerns would be the responsibility of the management of the proposed site. So that would go to Wychavon. So that is really a summary, everything from the portal and feedback from Wychavon. The only other thing in support of the mention of the police is they do acknowledge people's concerns regarding drug culture, but that they have spoken to the police and there isn't intelligence to support logged crime incidents for drug taking or ASB. So if that is happening, it's not being reported, is the opinion from the police and from Wychavon. So it has been considered. As we stand, there's a lot to consider there, but from the representation this evening, there are perhaps 3 concerns here, just for the attention of the committee, which has been helpful that these have been raised. There are evident concerns with the consultation process from feedback that we've had, so that would be a material reason to consider in the opinion of the committee. There is also this comparison with the successful Evesham facility, but it's not a like-for-like comparison, given that was a redundant or unused former home of occupancy. It was not in a residential area established, so that is a compelling matter. And the open access aspect for the HMO use, that isn't future-proof.
Yeah.
So to me, there's 3 additional factors there for the committee to consider there.
Okay. Have we got any further comments from the planning committee? Councillor Humphreys?
Yes, I wanted to raise the issue of the meeting that we talked about on the 25th of June. That was one of the hottest days of the year with a temperature of about 41 degrees. I was intending to go to that meeting, but would not been able to walk from my house to the community hall without feeling unwell because it was far too hot. Could we have another meeting on preferably in St Nicholas Church, which is much easier for anyone living locally in the area to access, even if we do have excessive heat on that day?
In response to that, the meeting was arranged by Wood Chamberlain, so I'd need to approach them.
Yeah.
But it's a reasonable request.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. I think it's definitely a concern that the consultation wasn't able to properly go ahead because the police aren't being properly consulted. Obviously, young people with difficult backgrounds do come with increased risks. So I think the police would be an essential partner to this running well. I think one of the things I've said back in the meeting in Woodhaven that it sounds is still quite present now is that the problems that simply are the large concern are problems that are already there from the sort of people that would be living here that are being housed at the guest house. And this is part of the problem is that they're already being housed in that area in from myself as a mental health professional, I would see as inappropriate conditions for people with that high need. And I have seen in my work that sort of thing being a contributing factor to these sort of issues. So having a setup that is able to properly address these sort of needs does reduce those sort of things. And also, I know that the service in Evesham isn't like for like, but is surrounded on all sides by residential neighbours. I think that's the bit that I do see is quite similar. Many of whom I spoke to myself on a visit, and who all said that they've had no consistent issues with the young people living at this service. And there's under the teams at the service have found it's been quite helpful and quite refreshing. I would say I'd definitely be keen to look for planning mechanisms to ensure that its use does stay as a supported and fully staffed HMO. I think if the consultation wasn't able to properly go ahead, I could see a reason for sort of deferment until a consultation could probably be done, and especially sort of a more planned response from the police. I do think this sort of facility would be hugely beneficial for helping reduce some of the behaviour in the area, if it's as it sounds like it's already existing in the area. And that this would be something I'd see as a way to address that if current attempts at addressing that sort of behaviour haven't already worked. I've seen a lot of that behaviour come around pubs anyway, so whether it is entirely tied to the existing HMOs is something I'll question, but having worked with people living in sort of temporary accommodation, I've seen how that behaviour can come to those sort of areas anyway. I would be inclined to support it, or I would be very understanding of deferment until a better consultation would be able to take place. But I have, in my own work, definitely seen these sort of setups be very beneficial to helping with sort of people that it sounds like are already being a problem in the area. And the charity that's in mind to run it, I've seen their work in quite great detail, and they do really good work. Like I said, I'd also be keen to see if there's a way to ensure that work can be permanently tied to the building.
Any further comments? Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I would certainly support the concept that there should be a proper consultation before anything proceeds any further. And also a red flag for me is this idea that originally there was an age range specified for the occupants of this building, which seems to have quietly disappeared, which is a sort of red flag. And I would certainly like to see that age range reinstated as part of the formal application, or a full discussion and explanation of why that isn't happening.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Brooks.
Can I comment even if I don't vote?
Yep.
Thanks. I think what possibly not mentioned really is that we are concerned about the vulnerable people that will be in the building and the risk to them of not the benefit they're going to give to the people who are already causing trouble, but the risk to them from the people that are causing trouble. I think I'll just clarify that point.
Thank you, councillor Davidson.
So I think we've got a proposal for deferment.
Yeah.
Subject to, I'll just summarise, the concerns with the consultation process, that needs to be addressed and fulfilled properly. Some concerns regarding the comparisons with the Evesham facility, that it's not like for like. This open access, including Councillor Brooks' point about the age criteria.
Yeah.
And then additional comments were a secondary consultation event, St Nicholas Church from Councillor Humphreys, and assurances and due attention to problems in the past, and that these the vulnerable people for the proposal are getting the right
Yeah, and I think the actual
support.
the support is 24/7 support, not just when they please.
Yes, sorry, because it was mentioned that the security will be reviewed after a certain
Yeah,
period.
no,
It's
I
not 6 months.
Councillor Duffy,
I think I agree with that, but,
Yeah.
yeah, the Patrick amendment still, but there's
24/7.
I think if I could suggest, specific wording, sort of a policing action plan, I think it'd be hugely beneficial for the police to have a plan of how they would address, issues sort of as they're raised, so that a rapid response could be, if not guaranteed, but, fairly assured. So I do think one of the benefits of the location is its location to the sort of, to the police and to the medical centre that gives the facilities that really benefit these young people. But sort of if there's concerns over the police, it's confidence in the security. I think that'd be ideal to have.
I can certainly add that. Part of the enhancements is that they were fitting CCTV, enhanced lighting and panic alarms as part of the proposal, but I'll make that point as well.
I think the biggest stress here is it needs to be consulted better.
Yeah.
The residents need to be consulted better. And a lot of these issues can be highlighted during the consultation period. Okay. So
Got a proposal for deferment based on all those 6 or 7 reasons. I can send that in, need a seconder, and then all in favour that can vote or wish to vote on the committee.
okay. So a proposal for deferment, Councillor Clements, seconder Councillor Brooks, all in favour for deferment?
Comment. It would also give all the councillors time to read all the comments.
That's good. And that's everybody that was.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I carry on with the meeting. Item 2 on the list is 107 Friar Street. This is the former Working Men's Club. It's demolition of the rear flat roof, extension to form external garden and smoking shelter, full internal refurbishment of existing club to create new public house, including structural alterations.
So no neighbours concerns on this one, Chairman. Drainage is standard, SWD P39. Canals and Rivers Trust, no comments to make, and Highways, no objection. Just to note on the Highways one, they've relaxed the car parking spaces provision because of the status of the building as listed and where it is in the town centre. There's nothing that can really be done to overcome that, so they do support it.
Okay. Any further comments on that one, Councillor Davidson?
A couple of rubbish people, I wouldn't call them exactly neighbours, have commented on their regret at the loss of a function room. And I suppose we could just say we regret the loss of a function.
Do we know that we're losing a function there?
If you look at the plan.
Is it,
Well, if we believe.
we believe?
I think, is that right, Mark?
We can add that as a comment.
Yeah.
So supporting principle,
Just this.
Yeah.
From a personal point of view,
Oh, right,
if I was to go
I
down
thought it
there,
was
I'd
being
be
taken
over
over.
at Sunday.
Sorry, I thought it was being taken over by Azure.
It is.
But the large function, then, I mean,
Councillor Brooks?
Thank you. In general terms, I'm very happy to support this, given the present economic situation and so forth. It's very nice to see money being invested in a building in the middle of the town that is important. So I'm very happy to support this one.
Okay, thank you. Have we seconded for that one? Councillor Clements, all in favour? Okay. Third on the list is 5 Alder Grove. This is a single-storey wraparound extension to the front and side elevation. It is a variation of condition 2 of the approved plans.
so it's just a minor submission really, this, Chairman. What that condition 2 is change of the drawing to show render rather than brickwork. That's all it is.
Okay. Any further comments on that one?
no neighbours seem to be concerned about it.
Okay. Have we a proposer? Councillor Davidson, a seconder. Councillor Duffy, all in favour? We have, the next one is 2 Primsland Drive. This is for a front porch.
Very little on this, Chairman, so no responses apart from the drainage, which is standard, so no neighbours' concerns or anything.
Okay, any further comments on Councillor Brooks?
Thank you, Chairman. Looking at this one, it seems very reasonable to me. The actual porch faces the road, so it's not sort of impeding on any neighbours. And there's ample room for the proposed additional building, and so I'm very happy to support.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that one? Councillor Davidson, all in favour? Okay, the next one is 56 Friar Street. This is a change of use from commercial services to residential. This is just on the corner as you're going up towards Morrison's, the road.
So no neighbours' concerns at all. The 3 statutory drainage standard, highways meets criteria, and the conservation officer, which is Wycheden anyway, no objections. That's from a built heritage perspective.
Okay, any further comments on that? Councillor Davison?
Reading through it, nothing really is going to be changed. It's going to look the same, it's going to be the same, it's just a change.
Changes.
Yeah. Any further comments? Have we a proposer? Councillor Davidson, a seconder. Councillor Brooks, all in favour? Okay. The next one is site 16 at Hill, Berry Hill. This is proposed signage which will comprise of individual letters fixed back to the external wall. I think this came up on planning not long ago. It's the new build on Egg Hill, on the corner.
It's a really big.
Yeah, a really big warehouse type thing.
So as expected, no neighbours' concerns because of the location on Berry Hill. The only statutory, which is the key one for access, is highways. They've done a robust assessment and no objection.
Okay. Any further comments on this one? No.
I would just say that I'm very pleased to support business in the town, and I thought the concept drawings and pictures were really smart, so I'm very happy to support this one.
Okay, have we got a seconder? Councillor Clements, all in favour? The next one is 19 Swan Drive. This is to replace the existing conservatory with a single-storey rear extension.
A little bit more on this one, Chairman. So in summary, 3 responses from 1 neighbour, so it's the same neighbour. What that is, that they're not objections, they're just asking questions as to dimensions from the applicant. So they've sent photographs in for the conservatory. The 4 statutory responses include Councillor Birch as well as District Member for North Claims, that support. WRS is landfill gas one, which you'd expect. Drainage is standard, and Canals and Rivers Trust no comments, so no concerns really.
Any further comments on that one? Councillor Davison?
Yeah, the neighbours seem to be concerned about being overlooked. It will be slightly higher looking at the plans. But the bit that's higher, I think it's got skylights and it's not clear whether if they're going to be frosted or slanting. So perhaps we could say, you know, that we note the concerns of the neighbour and hope that they'll be addressed.
You can support in principle subject to application of those points.
Yeah.
As you say, Councillor Dodson, they've raised it with the planning officer to clarify with the applicant. So we'll add that in.
Thank you. So we have a proposer for that one, based on the clarification of measurements, etc. Councillor Davison, a seconder. Councillor Duffy, all in favour? Thank you. And the last one on the list is 24 Shell Green. This is a single-storey extension to the rear side of the garage.
So no objections on that, just Councillor Birch's response as district member, that was all in support.
Okay.
And I know using existing drainage puzzle for the, so.
Any further comments on this one?
No.
We have a proposer, please. Councillor Duffy, seconder. Councillor Davison, all in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the list of planning applications for this evening. No amended planning applications received. Item 5 is approval notices. 5 have been issued since the last Town Council Planning Committee, and all 5 of these did accord with the recommendation of the Town Council. There have been no refusal notices since the last meeting. Items 6, 7 and 8 are temporary road closures which have gone ahead, so we'll do those as block. Councillor Brooks?
Sorry, Chairman, I'll just make a comment with regard to the closure order for Tagrel Road. This is, I think, firstly what took place a few days ago, but whoever put in the diversion signs got it wrong. And I think if you hadn't got local knowledge, you would probably be miles away from where you thought you were going to be. So perhaps I could just say it would be nice to see a detailed thing to on any future timber diversion.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Right, item 9, just to let you know, there's a delay on the temporary road works from Friar Street to Ricketts Lane. That's been delayed till September. Item 10 is waiting restrictions and parking places order for Corbett Avenue East Side, and also item 11 that goes on to Littleton Road and St Peter's Road. I think this was the campaign which Dan Birch and we had some of the residents in a few months ago, February, yeah. So that's on there. So item 12 is anticipated for 17 days. That should have commenced on Burridge Street. I don't know if anybody's noticed that one. No. Then item 13 is footpath work on the Westlands, which is going ahead in the middle of this month. Item 14 and 15 again are coming up road traffic regulations. Any comments on those? No, we'll take those on block. Any further comments on those? No. Okay, I'll call the meeting closed. Good.
To miss there.
Thank you.
That's legal.
Okay, we're a little bit behind, so now I will begin the meeting. Apologies for absence.
Yeah, Chairman, Councillors Frank, Stella, Morris, Simpson, Grady.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? No? Thank you. Item 3, to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on the 8th of June 2026. Have you got a proposal for this? Thank you. No seconder. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 4, to consider suspension of standing orders to enable Mr. Roland Baturi to speak in support of and to answer any questions for his design proposals arising for the following agenda item: concept proposals for new and revised signage for tourism. And we'll hand over to the gentleman at the back.
So just before we do, Chairman, can we have a proposal
Oh, right,
seconded
yes.
for that?
Can we have a proposal for
I'll
that?
propose that.
Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you, Eric. And all those in favour? Thank you very much. So,
Thank you, Chairman. So, it was to introduce Mr. Roland Maturi. His design concept for improved signage, particularly for directional signage for tourism. So it supports civic pride and improving the townscape. So Roland's done a lot of work on this. He referred it to highways and to ourselves. There is a caveat from Town Council that we have no powers for road sign infrastructure. So legally and cost-wise, it's a matter for the County Council. But Roland is keen to share it with the Community Amenities Committee and with the councillors this evening. As I say, a lot of work's gone into it, and with relaxing the standing orders, it enables Roland just to present it and cover any questions.
so over to you, Roland. If I may call you Roland, that is.
Good evening, all. If I may, I'd just like to introduce myself, a bit of a background so you understand where I'm coming from. I'm a very proud citizen of Douglas Park. And I've lived here with my family for over 50 years. Prior to that, on my business life, I worked for a series of companies within the network of British Leyland, BMC, Austin Norris, Nevin. Unfortunately, every time the company changed titles, I got promotion, which is really good. And I was tasked with creating a new company in Mangrove. The object is, my managing director gave me terms of reference, Mr. John Sutton out. And I came with the concept of providing special vehicles to anybody who was prepared to pay on a worldwide basis. I had approval to that, and I then started to do it with that lasted 2 years. The unit is now much, much bigger because it's part of the group. I took early retirement after 3 years, but very enjoyable job. Cutting all the other details, we're almost 12 months to the date today. Our own Nigel Hutchinson held a meeting in the town and invited people to come with any ideas of things they could do to improve the town. At that meeting, I met for the first time Richard Morris, and we discussed afterwards what is possible. And one of the subjects that came up was the town really needed a significant increase in tourism. And the consequent financial impact of that is quite significant. I volunteered to go out and just have a look and see where the town stood in regard to tourism. In other words, anybody who comes here that's never been here before, how would they? And I adopted a position of never having been here before. I started on April the 8th, and I came to this town gate, turned left and followed the signs. It didn't get me very far before I got to the junction of St George's Square. And that's when I found that nearly all signs pointed out of Dulwich or onwards. Nowhere did it say town centre or anywhere information centre, whatever. And it started me thinking, so I set out, and over the last 12 months, developing every sign in Droitwich within the boundaries of the town. And then honed in on what was important, and the important part I concluded was from the entrance to the town from Bromsgrove and Worcester, and then down through St George's Square, and from there on in. And it was interesting, to say the least, how far we go on with it. And I've had some help on the way from a variety of people, and I must thank you, Mark, for the help you've given me, and Katie with the information and question. I've reached the point now where I can't really move, and I really believe that what we need to do in the town is to go with the change of signs. And let me explain what that means. It means that if we can identify, first of all, the town has no end of features, assets in this town, and it's a wonderful position to be in. But we're the only people that know they exist. And I wanted to get signs that showed where the library was, where the information centre was, right back at the traffic lights, where the theatre was, churches, there's all sorts of buildings down High Street. And that's what I set out to do. And the paper you've got today shows some ideas of the new signs that we could do. The other problem I had was, I've got to be careful how I mention this, but the signs that are in existence today are not the tiniest I've ever seen. And therefore, my own conclusion straight off was to, let's throw those away and start with new signs. But that's a big leap. So in order to get it processed through the system, I need this committee specifically to look at it and see whether they agree that we ought to have some signage that clearly states this wonderful town that we've got for Droitwich Spa. And just get on and do it. From here, it would go to Worcestershire County Council, but as a feature of the discussion with this council. And that's where I stand today. I don't know whether everybody's had a chance to go through the brochure, but if we hand on ready, I can answer the question.
Thank you, Roland. And I must admit, I think these signs are wonderful. And I think these signs are wonderful, and I applaud all the work you've done and put into this, and I thank you for that.
Thank you for the comment. Just to clarify the part that Mark made in the note of the meeting. I know now that a lot of those white signs will turn to brown. But the fact remains, what are we trying to do?
Mm.
Is to list on signs so that people who've never been here before can find them.
Yeah.
Do you think some of them might be more appropriate, not for car traffic, but for pedestrian traffic? I'm just thinking as I'm driving through the town, I'd like signs that show me to the main car parks or the main buildings, and then I'll look at me sat nav or whatever, and then follow the pedestrian signs. That's a better pedestrian signs would be great.
Yeah, now, the internal signs there, which have done a wonderful job in doing that. They don't have anything outside the boundary, but anything that hangs on the road that says, sorry, let's go back. Part of the discussions I had with Richard was each car park, apart from the Lido Park, each car park comes off the main road. And never Solway, off Solway, every single one does. Now, the signs that point to the car park are Worcestershire responsibility, not Worcestershire. So we've got all the car park, we've got maps in there for we will have. So people need to go to the car park to wherever. But we don't have the signs that say, this is the car park for the town centre. This is the car park for the High Street. High Street is another dilemma I had because of the fire. If we were to direct traffic down the High Street from the main road, Queen Street, we just finish off with a monstrous traffic jam because it's potluck as to whether you get a parking space or not. If you don't, it's a very tortuous route to get out of it. So on the plan I put forward, we turn right at the traffic lights at George's, and the car park for the High Street is listed amongst that for Friar Street and Theatre and something else, which was Gate.
Yeah, Karen.
I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think in accordance with the projects that are going on in the town currently, as in the upgrade of the leisure centre, the upgrade of the Lido, the upgrade of the Brian Bus, is what is needed going forward is to bring tourism back into Drummond, even down to the Sacred Heart. We don't focus on that enough.
That's exactly
Yeah, and we should be showing people what we've got in the town, so I'm in total agreement with that.
Yeah, because that church is the only one in the UK, I understand it, and we don't talk about it.
No,
We don't even point to it. They've had to put their own banner up there somewhere.
and this is the type of thing that we need to do, so totally agree.
And then
with
you
that.
go on the other side of town, where you've got we've got a name in mind, you call that sports centre?
Sorry,
The sports centre on there.
Brian Mill.
Sorry?
Brian Mill,
Yeah, what's
the
the name?
leisure centre.
Leisure centre.
Yeah.
That is brilliant,
Mm.
but we don't talk about that.
No.
So if we take all that in,
Yeah.
and the rugby club,
Yeah, we've got every opportunity now,
It's
with
all
stuff that's
there.
going on, to do more
Yeah.
with the signage. Yeah.
it's all there. It's a question of how do we.
This is nothing quite a bit differently. We've got a sign that points to Ulster. Now, I don't know anybody who actually wants to go to Ulster. Does it not go to Stratford-on-Avon as well?
Does it not go to?
Stratford-on-Avon.
Yeah, it does somewhere.
So I think that would be more appropriate.
But yes, let's talk about pointing to the town rather than.
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else.
So where do we go from here?
Any other?
Any other comments?
So the difficulty we have with it is it's not within our gift to
Yeah.
traffic legislation, falls under county. So whilst we applaud the concept, it would have to go through a project body. So something like Place Board is currently in abeyance whilst it's reconstituted, but that would be my suggestion.
I think
We
so,
as
yeah.
the town council
Yeah.
cannot overrule the highways policy on this.
And also to remove signs that we don't need.
Yeah.
So review general signage,
Yeah.
directional signage.
On those flower pots in the town centre, they're right by Morrison's, which if you're in a small car, you can't see through them.
Councillor Hopkins, did you wish to say
Yes,
something?
wouldn't it be a good thing to have a small display of the proposals and make it available for people to come to the library and look at it? And maybe something will arise from somebody who knows a lot about the town, which might make us think. Overall, I mean, I'm quite in favour of the thing. I think, taxpayers' money is being spent, so not by us, but I think we should at least give the public a chance to see the sort of ideas that are proposed before we do it.
The difficulty with that is we will be consulting on something that isn't within our remit, so it would have to be the highways that took that forward. We can suggest it to them,
Yes.
but as the statutory authority, it would be their responsibility.
I personally would like to stay with the project once it goes beyond here, because it will go all over the place if we're not careful. And there aren't many people in Worcestershire, or in fact, we live in George, that do that type of work. It's just need to careful watching.
Yeah, councillor.
Thank you for letting me speak whilst on your committee. Would we be able to write to county highways to ask for their opinion on the sort of legalities of proposed signs?
We have done that, so that's why I'm guarded in that we've got any powers on it, because there are things such as font. It's a national act of parliament, font design, spacings, all that, and symbolism. So we're not positioned to advise on that ourselves. It would have to be through highways. So really, to conclude this evening, we can do a statement of support and suggest to highways that they consider a wider consultation, given the merit of the suggestions. But we can't force that ourselves. It would have to be their decision to do that.
There is a timing link in my mind that along the way of becoming the bright bars, all this has to be done before then. And it can be done in stages. And that's the difficulty. It doesn't have to be one big project. If you take the first junction, that's the one I would consider. Now, when it comes up to the point of throwing away those signs, I don't know how you word it, Mark, but if you're going to take this route, and I'll be very pleased to do, if you could add to the fact that you're looking for signs to identify all the assets of the town, and renewing the state of current signs.
Yeah.
Because I think most of them should be chucked away. And don't forget, as the ones I've done are tourism signs, which are ground signs. You still need the main sign, but they are not very clever the way they are. It shows you on one of the images. Is it true? Attachment 4. If you see the picture at the top, that's the state of the signs you've got there. And if you can put signs similar to the ones at the bottom, not say exactly the same, but similar to, but in line with the law and all the rest of it, then it's going to clash with all these. We don't really need them. Now, legal take a different position. They say they are a legal job, and it's nothing to do with drugs. It's a through town sign. Just as they do.
Okay. So, you
So,
want to propose it?
so the proposal is to support the concepting principle that Rowan's presented, to consider a wider consultation through council,
The timing is possible.
and then to look at possibly staged or focusing on one area. I think the area that you draws the most concern was Queen Street, wasn't it? The crossroads.
That's right.
Yeah. So can add that possibly if they wanted to look at one area
I would take that.
almost. Yeah.
The first one. Just if you take that route, then the route I haven't covered, which is phase 3, is the roundabout at
Copcut.
past the car park.
Yeah.
The roundabout. That is just equally covered from the car. You know where to go.
So we can certainly write to the highways and also to the, was 3 county council members who aren't here this evening. But the decision to proceed will be a matter for the highways to consider.
Yeah. So we've got this proposal. Have we got
So,
a seconder for this? Thank you. All those in favour?
I'm going to abstain. on the basis that I think there's too much information when you're driving. On this one here, it's got Droitwich, Bar Marina, Droitwich Sports Field, Gateway Park, Domestic Waste, Hanley Vaughan, Union Centre.
Yeah, that may be so.
And as a driver, I would be concerned that I might well have an accident trying to read it.
It's been passed.
So that's noted. So all in favour on the committee?
All in favour on the committee?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland. You're welcome
Thank
to stay if you want, or you can leave.
This one thing.
Yeah.
When you drive around the Salt Lake, sort of past the Alton roundabout, you start going down to the, there's currently signposts to a part of the town that nobody understands outside of Droitwich. They need to be brought up for strangers. And that's where I would put the library, the exhibition, information centre, and the new,
The lighter.
Yeah.
because there's no way to put it, those car parks up there, that's nominated, I can't remember the name. The signpost on the main road, which was his responsibility.
Yeah.
Say something, it's old fashioned, we know what it is here.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, item 6 then,
Thank you
Christmas
very much.
lighting.
So this one, Chairman, we've had to defer the Teams meeting. The company couldn't make it today, it's now on
Oh,
Wednesday, so there's nothing to update. It'll be the September meeting on that one.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, Winslow Thanksgiving 2026. To confirm the second steering group meeting took place on the 23rd of June. Can I hand over to you then?
So the timing on this one, Chairman, it coincided leading up to America 250, which was Saturday, the 250th anniversary of American independence. So it was really just to note the press release that went out last week and also the 2 letters.
Yeah.
That went out with the agenda. So it's quite a big thing for Droitwich for the connection with that. So we'll wait and see if we get any feedback.
One of those letters go to Donald.
It went to the American ambassador in London and the town leader, because there isn't a mayor, of Plymouth, Massachusetts, where Edward Winslow was governor.
Right, item 8, Droitwich Dementia Action Alliance.
So we circulated this one earlier in the year. It's Councillor Della's profiling this initiative. The date was deferred, so it's Friday this week. So it was really just an open invitation for any members, if they wish to be involved with it and support it, to join. So it's at the Old Library, 10 till 12 on Friday.
Can I make a comment?
You can.
On my partner's copy of the Daily Mail today, there's a big headline, NHS ignore whatever dementia people, they send them out with a leaflet or something. So it's something that there seems to be a need for more attention paid to dementia sufferers.
It's looking to really reaffirm the dementia-friendly status for the town with multi-agencies.
Yeah. Any other comments on that? No. Thank you. Item 9 then, Gurney's Lane planting scheme.
So we'll cover this one in April. Slight conflict of interest with this one, that the planting is very bespoke because it's scheduled at Ancient Monument site, where the old foundry was for the salt. So we've got a very, very narrow remit as to what that planting could be. The conflict of interest is the mature tree in Gurney's Lane, so the leaf fall of that will essentially smother all the new planting. So there's a contingency aspect, costs on the bearing of which agent are going to pay for this. It's in the region of about £8,000 planting. And then the outlook that the town council would adopt it and add it to the wider planting scheme with our contract thereafter. But the concern is unless that leaf fall is managed by the week from around September, October through till probably February, March, which is considerable area and expense, or some compromise to reduce the tree canopy, it's not going to be best value. We are restricted as to the planting. We can't put lesser value plants in, or it's got to be that particular spec because of the conservation aspects. So at the moment we're in discussion with Wychavon on it. So not saying fell the tree, but reduction of the canopy will be a compromise. But we can't go into this with an open cost ongoing year on year that potentially we're going to have to replace a lot of the plants every year of that value. So it's a developing issue.
Right. Item 10, Heritage Centre. The final part of the improvements, which covers refurbishment of the staff and volunteer team ground floor toilets, is due to commence shortly.
So this is the outstanding bit from the Heritage refit. These toilets in the corridor here for the volunteers. It's been a bit delayed because of supply chain, but that cost provision is from the original budget.
Item 11, fire safety and electrical inspection, 5-year electrical installation certificates.
So it's just a summary really, Chairman. There's a couple of things here. The 5-year electrical installation certification is due for both buildings. It's been completed, but there's 2 mandatory updates because the regulations changed so much, and then 2 recommended ones for this building. The community hall was fine, so we're compelled to do that because it's multi-occupancy, it's tenancies, and it's a public building. And the other one is fire detection for the 2nd floor, which we require for the investment project, but also we require it for the accreditation. We've covered this before for the museum. So that work has been sanctioned through Resources Committee last month, but that will be completed hopefully during July.
Right.
So these are costs, but they're hopefully going to be absorbed within maintenance because it's changing regulations for public buildings.
Okay, any comments on these, please? No?
No.
Well, in that case, I will close the meeting. Thank you.